Welcome to Alien Agenda with Gene P. Abel. Today we explore ancient mysteries from the Great Pyramids to Göbekli Tepe. Discover how cutting-edge tech reveals secrets suggesting extraterrestrial involvement or advanced ancient technology. Join us on this thrilling journey questioning everything we know about our past. Stay tuned. This is one adventure you won't want to miss. Here's your man, Gene.
Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Alien Agenda with Gene P. Abel. Today, I'm going to talk again about something that has happened a long time ago, possibly as many as 12,000 years. Recently, archaeologists have been helped in their search for our past by some great new technology. Things like airborne optical sectioning, light detecting and ranging, and ground-penetrating radar are all being used to help identify structures or civilizations that existed eons ago. We're all familiar, of course, with the pyramids in Egypt, which are the last remaining vestige of the ancient wonders of the world. The pyramids at Giza are believed to be about 4,500 years old. Recently, a number of studies have been conducted on the mortar that has been used between the stones, and they discovered that when they made this mortar, they burned wood to heat the limestone, and from that they were able to carbon date that mortar to about 4,500 years ago. They've also discovered that at one time the pyramid at Giza was covered with limestone, pure white, gleaming in the sun, and they believed it had a gold cap at the very top of the pyramid. We still don't know why the pyramids were built, and we certainly don't know exactly how they were built. There have been some suggestions that the stones were dragged across the sand by wetting the sand first, which makes it easier to pull. However, the number of stones and the weight of some of these stones really make it difficult to understand how this could have been accomplished. The other unique thing about the pyramid at Egypt, as well as others, is they are oriented almost totally true north. The interesting thing is that pyramids are found all over the world. And again, every one of them is oriented the same, toward true north. Some pyramids, like the ones in Egypt and in Mexico, in a place called Teotihuacan, have been found with large amounts of liquid mercury in caverns underneath the pyramids. This is very unusual because mercury itself has to be processed to make it liquid, and why would they have large quantities of mercury under these pyramids? In addition, the one in Mexico also had large deposits of mica. One theory is that the pyramids were actually power generation stations used by ancient civilizations, which of course begs the question, how would our ancestors 4,500 years ago even know about electricity, much less be able to generate electric power from pyramids? Another perplexing artifact from the past are the Sphinx. Again, the Sphinx begs the question of who built it, why was it built? It has huge stones that make up the structure, and originally it was thought to be about the same age as the pyramids of Giza. However, we have now discovered that on the side of the Sphinx, there appears to be water erosion. And even more astounding is that they have discovered marine fossils underneath the Sphinx. That's important because that area of Egypt has been dry as a bone for about 12,000 years. So if there were in fact marine animals at the Sphinx or under the Sphinx, it must be much older than the pyramids at Giza, something in the 12,000 year range or greater. The questions of how any of these buildings or structures were built all over the world and their true north orientation lends many people to believe that there was a superior race that came to Earth and helped our ancestors design and build these enormous structures. In Lebanon, there are a series of stones called the Baalbek stones, and the largest one of these is estimated to weigh 1,650 tons. That's 3.3 million pounds, folks. This stone is a rectangle with perfect right angles, and it is believed to be at least 2,000 or more years old. Again, the question arises, how could our ancestors, with the tools, the knowledge, and the equipment that they had, be able to move a stone that weighed 3.3 million pounds? And how could they have cut it perfectly at right angles and perfectly smooth? In Egypt, they have discovered 24 huge sarcophagus that weigh up to 100 tons each. They are cut with absolute precision. You can put a square on them and they are perfect 90-degree angles. In addition, they've been found under pyramids, which again asks the question, how were they built? How were they moved? And how were they located underneath the pyramids. In Turkey, there is a 22-acre site called Göbekli, and it is believed to be 12,000 years old. It is built with huge carved stones that weigh thousands of tons each. It is impossible to understand how such projects could have been designed and built by the hunter-gatherers that we believe lived in this region 12,000 years ago. This site in Turkey, Göbekli, is thought to be one of the most important recent discoveries, and it is believed it will take at least another 50 years for them to fully excavate, understand better this enormous structure. We have Stonehenge in England, built with some stones that weigh as much as 25 to 30 tons. This structure cannot be explained as to its purpose, and it is believed to be at least 1,000 years older than the Great Pyramid in Egypt. How could our ancestors have constructed such a thing without the help of modern equipment? There are ancient polygon walls located in at least 10 areas around the world. These walls are constructed with absolute precision with stones that defy explanation. These walls exist in Peru, Greece, Japan, Egypt, Easter Island, and again, how could this technology be all over the world, so similar and so hard to explain as to how it was made or moved into place without the help of some other beings? There are some theories as to how these huge stones were moved. One is that the stones were infused with helium-3, which has a much higher lift capacity than ordinary helium. Problem is, helium-3 is a very rare gas. It does exist, that we believe, in large quantities on the moon. And of course, how would helium gas be infused into stones to make them light enough to move? That technology doesn't exist today, much less thousands of years ago. Another theory is that these stones were actually levitated by the use of harmonics and sound. Again, we have been unable to do anything like that, even with our technology today. Finally, some people actually believe that there were races of giants on Earth that moved these huge stones into place. There is no absolute proof that such giants existed, and it is impossible to believe that, for example, a giant could have picked up 650 tons or even 30 tons. And again, it doesn't explain the precision with which these stones have been cut. All of these point to a race and a technology that goes far beyond anything that we have today, and certainly that we had thousands and thousands of years ago. When you take a look at all of these structures, it says that the likelihood that we have been visited by a race or races of people with technologies far beyond anything that existed then or exists today is very, very likely. It is hard to understand any other explanation that could explain these structures. We know they're there, we can see them, we can measure them, we can look at them, but we haven't got a clue how they were made, how they were designed, and how they were constructed. I hope that you'll take a look at some of these artifacts, do some more research on your own, and see how many of you can come up with an explanation other than we've been probably helped by some other intelligent beings. Until next time, when we'll take a look at some more evidence that we may in fact not be alone, this is Colonel Gene saying, be healthy, happy, and we'll see you next time.
Ever encountered a UFO? We want to hear your story. Contact Deborah Wallace at debra@pcm.agency to join us on the air.